Hey guys, Kurt with NK Garage again, and today we're gonna go buy a metal working lathe. So it's been something that's been on Nick's wish list for a very long time, and because he's been doing so much research lately, he's been showing me them left and right, and we found a pretty good deal. We found one that's under $1,000, comes with cabinets and drawers full of a bunch of different chucks and different pieces that come with it. So it seems like a pretty good package deal as long as we go there and make sure everything's in good condition. I think we're going to buy it. It's $900 and it's a Sheldon lathe. So Nick might go into a little bit more detail about that right now, and then if we pick it up later, we'll show you the whole thing. So
yeah, guys. I've only used a metalworking lathe once in my life, and that was back in college, so a long time ago now, over 10 years, coming up on 10 years. So I don't know a whole lot. I just watch a couple different videos of different machinists on YouTube, so it's going to be a learning experience for me. I know Kurt has never laid his hands on a lathe, but we do a lot of, I wouldn't say restoration, but a lot of building and fabricating of both tools for our landscape company and maybe in the future some tools for NK Garage, just cleaning things up. So I think this is going to be a good purchase for us, and we'll see what happens.
Hey guys, we're back. We bought the metal lathe. We got a pretty good deal on it too, and we got a bunch of extra goodies. So we're going to switch over and we're going to have Nick go over the lathe with you guys, just because he's a bit more knowledgeable than I am. We are both novice metal lathe guys now. We are just getting into the hobby, but we're pretty excited, and we're going to show you what we got.
All right, guys. What we have here is an early to mid 1950s. You heard that right. It's almost 70 plus years old. This is a Sheldon lathe. Sheldon is the brand. This is an 11¼ inch swing lathe. Basically, that's just a measurement from the tailstock down to the ways here. So in theory, you could work on up to an 11¼ inch part in diameter. The bed total length of this machine is between 32 and 36 inches long. So for a starter lathe, or in this case, maybe more of a long-term lathe, hopefully our only lathe, that's a pretty good size. And we're really happy with the choice of lathe. You may notice the cabinetry underneath the lathe. That is a factory part. This is called a cabinet lathe, as you can see from the cabinets. And that was one of the criteria that we were searching for when it came down to lathes. We wanted something with a cabinet for tool storage. A lot of our other tools in the garage, like the drill press and the bandsaw, all have cabinets, and it's really helpful to store the tools for that machine with the machine. So, looking over the lathe here, this is not how we first purchased it. I've put a ton of time into cleaning this, oiling it, and getting it back in functional form here. It had been sitting for 10 to 15 years without a lot of use on it. The factory that we ended up purchasing this from sent all their manufacturing over to China roughly 10 to 15 years ago, so this really didn't get any use since then, but it was used to make wind chimes, believe it or not, or some form of wind chime manufacturing was done on this lathe.
All right, you want to go over with everybody what mistake we made, regarding, kind of what's going on down here?
So yeah, you may notice the slightly sketchy looking power cord to this lathe. We got there, I made sure to test it. It did run and operate. Everything operated as I expected. The plug looked like it was in good shape. It was a 4-prong plug, which there's tons of 4-prong 220 volt plugs, so I said that'll work perfectly in our garage. After we got it home, I switched it over to our plug style. We use a 3-prong NEMA plug. It's the same that's on our welders and our plasma cutter. So I switched it to that, and I went to start this thing up, and we got nothing. A little bit of research later, we found out this is a 3-phase tool. That's unfortunate. There are workarounds to that by using something called a VFD, or I believe it's called a variable frequency drive. I think it's what it is. And you can run a three-phase motor on single-phase power. We happen to be really lucky. Kurt had kept an old Dayton motor that we had lying around. So this is a 1 horsepower Dayton motor that runs on either 120 or 240 volts. We are currently running it on 240 volts. And aside from having to do a piece of plywood as not only a spacer, but the bolt holes were a little different between the motors, it works. It works fine. The only thing that I don't have right now is reverse. So I need to wire a new switch so I'm able to get forward and reverse on this motor. But that was a big thing that we kind of overlooked that we should have been a little more cautious about. Luckily, we had the motor.
All right, you want to take them through all the lathe tools that came with the machine as well as the tool cart?
So before we go over the tool cart, a big thing with this lathe was having the quick change gears. Some of the older, more basic lathes, you would have to do that manually. This is basically like a gearbox on a vehicle. You can shift between multiple different speeds and feed rates. So this actually controls how fast the carriage here moves with the power feed of the lathe. So this, you can not only crank it by hand, but it will power feed itself, which leaves you with a really nice finish. I wanted the quick change gear set. That was a big thing for me. Aside from that, tooling wise, in this drawer, I've kind of organized through a lot of this stuff. We have a bunch of different carbide inserts and carbide replacements, which is really nice. That's a decent amount of money in carbide tooling right there. Not only did we get that, but we got some extra dogs for the 3-jaw chuck that's currently mounted to the lathe. So these are the reverse of what's on there now. Get some hardware. That's nothing too special. Below that, this is everything high-speed steel. So this is not carbide. This is basically high-speed steel like you'd find in a drill bit. And this can be ground to any shape. Very different types of specialty tooling and things. So there's a lot of high-speed steel in here. Plus, this is all boring bars for cutting internal diameters, so working internally outward. So that's a lot of tooling right there. We got the whole cart as well. You can see, nothing crazy, but it is a nice cart. We got a 4-jaw chuck. So we have a 3 and 4-jaw chuck. And then this is all different tooling for collets. So I'll show you over here on the lathe itself. Part of the cabinet lathe, it came nearly fully stocked with a bunch of stuff. So talking about collets, if you don't know what a collet is, it's basically a tool holder that is concentric at all times. So the tool is held perfectly in the center, and tightening it down keeps the tool centered. So we have a bunch of different collets here in not only round, but we have square and hexagon. I think this was a factory Sheldon feature that came with some of these lathes. We're missing some, not a big deal. We have a good amount. Next drawer up. This is all of the tooling to hold the high-speed steel. Carbides as well, I guess. This is all made by Armstrong or J.H. Williams. So these Armstrong tool holders, that is a really sturdy, good option. We're not going to get rid of these. It's not as modern as the current tool holder that's on there. It uses what's called a lantern type tool post. So this is what actually clamps the tool in. The biggest problem being with this is that you have to shim the height of each tool individually. So when you make a tool change, that takes a lot of time and a lot of measuring. And if you're not only facing a tool, then turning it, maybe putting a chamfer on it, that's 3 separate tool changes that you need to change the shimming of every time. That takes a lot of time. We also got some knurling stuff for putting nice knurling features. So we got 3 separate knurling tools. And then these are just some drive dogs for turning between centers. So a good amount of stuff in here, really nice. Last but not least, these are all different Morse tapered chucks. We have some dead centers, some live centers, and even some random milling tools. So this is a really good starter set of tools for us to work this lathe. Just from day one, we don't have to go and buy anything. Because you'll find, if you do end up purchasing a lathe, it's not the lathe that costs you a whole lot of money. Like Kurt said, we paid $900 for this lathe. It came with hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of tooling. If you just bought a lathe with no tooling, you're gonna then have to go buy a ton of tooling just to be able to use the lathe. On the lathe here itself, we got a turret style quick change tool post. It's not a standard quick change tool post where you turn the dial and the individual tool lifts off. This can mount up to 4 different tools, and it came with 3 different carbides on here. So this is more of like a chamfering style tool. This is more of a left hand turning and facing tool, and then a parting tool. This is easily switchable between the 3 different tools. And these are highly regarded to be very sturdy, very good tool posts. At some point we will update this to a quick change tool post, but we're going to leave it as it is right now and just get more familiar with using this thing.
All right, yeah, I know I'm excited. And like I said, guys, you know, I'm brand new into this, but it's definitely really cool and something that we're really excited to jump into. Nick's been doing a lot of reading and researching, and we just finished cleaning it up. It was a challenge getting this thing in here. The lathe itself weighs, they told us when we picked it up, about 1,300 pounds, and that sounds about right. And it was hard to move. It took us probably 2 hours with one employee from where we bought it, the 3 of us, to move it and get it loaded in the trailer. And then even at home, you know, it was a challenge to unload, and then getting it positioned here was a challenge as well. We then proceeded to clean it up because, like we said, it hadn't been used in a long time. And in between, from whenever they were manufacturing there or slowly phasing out their manufacturing, it was left a mess. You know, over time, you know, things were just left here or there. The drawers were all unorganized. The cart was very unorganized. And we kind of just had to go through all that, organize it, clean it up, and service the lathe. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take you guys into the other room, and we're going to take a look at all the extra goodies that we bought with the lathe. So the lathe itself was $900, and the extra goodies were $200. And I think that we got just as much extra machinist tools and tons of other stuff in there as we got with this package as well. So let's go take a look let's go take a look. That's a nice one. That is a nice one. Oh, hey guys. This is the old motor, which is a very good motor. Ran very good there, but it is 3-phase, so we're going to hold on to it, and eventually if we move into a shop with 3-phase power, we will put that back in. But that's not all I have to show you guys. We got some tools and some more tools and goodies. All of this stuff, like I said, we threw in for an extra $200. It was on 2 shelves in the corner. I noticed a bunch of machinist stuff, and I just said how much you want for the 2 shelves, and we agreed on $200. What do we got here? Well, we'll start over here. We got 3 machinist vises, and you know, those I'm definitely happy to have. You know, some of them are used and abused. This one has been modified and welded, but they all work. This one in the middle here, I think, is the highest quality one. Looking for, yep, it's Montgomery Tools, made in the United States. And the other ones, this one's just Taiwan, and I think that one was unmarked. Over in the corner, we got 2 hex key sets. They're mismatched pieces, but I was happy to get these holders. I like these Eklund made in USA holders, and they have the little diagrams on here, which are very useful. So if I end up just refilling them with other sets or find a couple pieces, it would be nice to have. Right here we have a miter box. They did some woodworking there as well, so that's probably what they were using that for. Down here we have a pulling tool. right here we have some transfer punches and dowel pins, dowel centers. So, and this one came with the index, and we're only missing 2 pieces, so that was pretty cool to find. And we have 2 extras here as well. In these bins here, we got various stuff. They did a lot of tube work as they were making wind chimes. So these are all what's called tube end form cutters. And there's a bunch of them in here. Some of them are brand new. And these, I think we're going to hold on to for a little bit. Not quite sure if we'll ever use them, but if we ever want to, we could probably resell them in the future. They just came with the deal, and they are not cheap to buy. In here, we have some extra chucks. There's a Jacob's chuck here and a bunch of chuck keys. Some of them are, nice like Jacob's, USA made chuck key, and various sizes, so that was good to find. In here, we have a bunch of punches. This one is actually a case of Mayhew 1/16 inch punches made in USA, all brand new. So that was a nice find. There are also some punching tools in here. Nick, why can't I remember anything?
Scratch all.
Scratch all, thank you. Sorry, guys. And then we have some clamps over here as well. There are some nice brand clamps in here, like this one is Moore and Wright from Sheffield, England. This one here is a Brown and Sharp. And over here we have an LS Starrett clamp. So these are nice clamps. There's another Brown and Sharp down the bottom, and I think these other 2 are just unbranded. But those are cool to find, and definitely some good clamps in there. Over here we have a miscellaneous bin. There's some milling stuff in here, which they did have a mill at one point. Unfortunately, they sold it before we got to it. So there's a bunch of milling bits and stuff in here. There's a reaming tool, an adjustable hole saw. Right here we have a cham bit. We have some Forstner bits for woodworking, and a bunch of other miscellaneous stuff. Some of them are brand new in these little cases. Some of them are in these tubes. All different types that they were using in the manufacturing field. So there's definitely a ton of value in there. We just have to go through it over time, but we might come and find good use of that stuff. Down here, we got various wax, beeswax, and tools wax, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to hold on to that. This bin, I'm not sure what these things are. I don't know if these were things they were using for tools, or if some of this stuff... I just don't know. If you guys know what some of this stuff is, please leave it in the comments. We're kind of wondering ourselves. It was in this bin just like this, and we're not quite sure. Right here we have a bunch of screw bits. And the nice thing about these is there's a lot of USA made ones in here. And that is good to find, because a lot of that cheap overseas stuff nowadays, the bits are just garbage. So there's a lot of older USA made bits in here, nice high quality steel. Right here, this was at one of their tool stations, and it looks like a bunch of deburring tools, and it comes with a nice tool block. That was totally cool. We'll probably set that up when we get our machinist stuff all set up. We got some drill gauges here. We have this one here is a Craftsman. It's actually the wire gauge, but it's cool to find. Probably made in the United States, and it has, a bunch of different measurements on it. Over here we have 2 drill gauges. The one on the right is made by LS Starrett, and it's for drill bits number 1 through 60, and I just love how heavy duty it is. That is going to be a good long-lasting gauge and very accurate. This one here is made by General. It just does fractional for inch, and it's also pretty heavy duty. Got some more hand deburring bits in here. We didn't find the tool for that. Over here we got some tap and die stuff. This is an old Sears Craftsman case, and everything that's in here is original to the case. I took out anything that was replaced over time just to see what was left of the original stuff. This is all USA made Craftsman tap and dies. All the dies are here. A lot of the taps are missing, and there's a couple of tools included as well. We did not get the actual tap handle, but we did get these two ones, the small one and the big one here, and the die handle. We also got these screw pitch gauges, and we got a bunch of other tap and die stuff as well. Over here we have some extra dies, some extra taps, and then here we have a bunch of extra tools. And what was cool about that is we did get some nice ones, like this is a Starrett tap handle. Here's another one. This one is really nice. It's the 91B. Super smooth, feels great, nice high quality. And the rest of these ones are kind of, so there's some China and some Taiwan mixed in. But there's another, I think this was a USA made one by GTD. And I think that's that. Here is another LS Starrett tool. It's an edge finding tool, and we'll get to show you guys that once we eventually move on to buying a mill. But that is down the road. Not sure when that will happen. Over here we have a bunch of pin vices for doing small drilling work. This one actually still has a drill bit in it, but there is 7 of them here, 6 or 7, and I believe they are all General USA made. Over here I separated a bunch of screw extractors. I just put them in this bag, but that's a nice good little set. Right here we have 2 drill blocks. One is a Sears fractional and the other one is a General numbers 1 through 60. They look exactly the same to me. They're probably both just made by General. Over here we have some drill indexes. This one here is a tap and drill index by Huo. And I took everything out of it because there wasn't much in here, and I don't think we're going to be using this index ourselves because we have a lot of tap and die stuff and we keep it all organized in the shop in larger toolboxes. So we probably won't use this one ourselves, but it was cool to find. There is another Huo index, numbers 1 through 60. Most of the bits are in here. I went and checked to make sure everything's in the right place, so I just need to replace about 4 or 5 of them. But the index itself is a really nice USA made index, and replacing a couple bits isn't a big deal. Got this drill block here is for the lettered bits, and we have every bit A through Z in here. We also got 2 drill indexes that are metric, and one of them goes up to a larger size, goes up to 10 millimeter. The other one only goes up to 5, but includes a lot more sizes in it as well. I'm going to have to go through here and go through this bin of miscellaneous bits to see if I can fill it back up more. I just haven't had the time yet. In these miscellaneous bits we have a lot of the standard twist drill bits, both American, Chinese, Taiwan, all of it. We also got a bunch of these high quality bits made in Germany. Alright guys, sorry for the interruption, but we actually just got off the phone with the guy that we bought all this from, and he said that his boss is ready to start letting things go at major discounts. They're just looking to get rid of stuff. So we're going to be going back tomorrow to get more. So there's going to be a part 2, guys. But let's get back to it. And we left off in the drill bit area. And like I said, we have unsorted bits in here. But we also got a bunch of these bits that are made in Germany, and they have carbide tips. And there's a bunch of these packets in here, and they're all brand new. So I think these will come in handy, definitely in case we need to do some serious drilling. Inside here is just a bunch of various bits. We got some big bits, we've got little bits, we've got masonry bits, all sorts of bits. So those I'll be going through. Eventually we'll be doing a video on our drill bit organization. We have ideas, we have things coming. We have a lot of drill bits, guys, not just what's here, but we've been collecting for a while, and it's time to get serious. So we're going to be looking into some drill bit cabinets to sort all this properly. Also got various spade bits here. There's some Craftsman ones in here. There's the Irwin speed bore ones. Nice old USA made bits. Also in the back, just some pre-sorted bits that are from the lettered drill gauge. So those are definitely some extra ones for that. And before I forget, we got this last index. Index itself is just a cheaper Chinese one, but it does have a nice variety. We have lettered stuff on the right. In the back, we have numbers 1 through 60, and then we have the inch fractional on the left by 64ths. So, a nice case with good variety. Over here is just a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. We got some more tool holders here. This one is old wooden one, is nice, made in USA. This is also made by Baumann, Swiss made. We got some miscellaneous stuff. We got a grinder dressing tool here. We got some big sewing needles that they must have used for their production line. Various little tools. Some kind of pulling tool here. I'm not even sure what this guy is. Got a random wrench here made by Dunlap. Got a file, wire wheel. Over here we found a set of vice jaws just in one of the boxes. And this is a nice proto screw extractor bit. Nice big size. These, we're still working on figuring these out, whether they're for the mill, the lathe, or both. But they hold carbides in them, and they're definitely some kind of cutting tool. Got this little assortment of wire hold downs. And then the kicker of all this, the last second after we paid, we said, oh, we see that you guys have ground stock, and if you're not producing anything anymore, can we buy it off of you? So the guy said, yeah, just here's some bins, grab whatever you want. It's on the house, it's free, we're just going to throw it out. So we grabbed a bunch of it, including this nice big piece of aluminum, this piece of brass here. We got plenty of pieces of steel. We got tons of little miscellaneous stuff. We got tons of plate stock. Even some of this with the holes and stuff drilled into it. This one's untouched. The stuff is all good, for doing little projects. Definitely can be used. We even got this nice piece of precision steel. And it hasn't been used. It's still in the original package. And that's a nice piece of steel. And we even got some polycarbon here. Who knows? Maybe we'll use it at some point. But if they're going to throw it out, we'll definitely take it. And since we're going back, we'll probably get a little bit more as well. So I want to thank you guys again for watching this video. And if you're interested more in the lathe in there, watch out for future videos. But also, if you want to see the process of how we picked up the lathe, transported it, loaded it, and Nick, did you put cleaning in that video or no?
I did.
Yes, he's got cleaning the lathe, servicing it. So that'll be on his channel, NK Landscaping. And then I'm sure we'll be featuring that lathe again in future videos. So stay tuned. Check out NK Landscaping. And we got part 2 coming up. So this is going to be really exciting. We're really getting into machining stuff and machinist tools. So I think, this is going to be a really cool year. A lot of new stuff coming. So thank you guys and have a great day.
Bye.